everyone. Today I'll be reviewing this new movie just dropped on Netflix. It's called The Dig, starring Ralph Fiennes, Carey Mulligan, and this movie is directed by Simon Stone. And this movie is currently streaming on Netflix. It just came out on Friday, but I did see this movie was trending on Netflix, especially this weekend. So what I thought about this movie, I thought this movie's first act for this movie is absolutely amazing. I loved it so much when I was watching it, especially in the first act, like when Ralph's character, he start digging and he get all this dirt and he was just standing there talking to Carey Mulligan's character, and suddenly all those dirt, it just fell on him and he was basically under all those dirt and he was under there, and I really thought he's gonna die. I was like jumping up and down on my seat. It was so intense. I was like, wow, that scene was done really very wonderfully. I was like, oh, this movie is really good. So especially when I think about the first, this movie is quite long though. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It didn't need to be that long, especially since the story is so simple here. Basically, we're digging it and getting some stuff from the history, which were really very interesting. When I think about the plot itself for this movie, I was really enjoying it. Especially when you go back to history, and this movie took place in World War II. So there is some war stuff you hear at the background, which was pretty interesting. Overall, this movie, as I was saying, the first act for this movie is so good. It's like, if I had to give a star, it's 5 out of 5 stars. But unfortunately, halfway this movie, especially when they find something under the ground and government people comes in and try to take over, of course. Then they introduce a couple of more characters, like Peggy, I think her name, played by Lily James, and her husband. And there was another side character who is Carey Mulligan's cousin. And I thought all these side characters, they were introduced really late in this movie, like last act for this movie. And I thought, because they introduced this character so late and you already invested your time with the Ralph Fiennes and Carey Mulligan's character. By the way, they are so interesting character and they are so good in this movie. Their acting is absolutely amazing in this movie. Throughout the movie, they're really good. Both of them are so good. I really liked them, and you understand where they're coming from, especially Carey Mulligan. She's a little sick, she's sick, and she has a son. She needs to take care of it. And the son has a concern of it, my mother died, all these things handling in this movie. I thought they done really good job, which was in the first act. It's not first act technically, it's 1 hour and a half or so. Then they introduce all this much of this character, like when they introduce the government people comes in, and I must say from there this movie became really like, what the with all this character that comes in, they take over the movie, and you are like, because you have invested your time in first 2 characters, you don't have time for other characters, especially when they come in, all this new character, they kind of take over the whole movie, and you're like, what are they doing here? I don't need them. I need to get back to Carey Mulligan and Ralph Fiennes, especially they're so good. Especially Lily James' character, oh my god, I was like, she's so beautiful every movie she does, and like she's the most attractive woman ever. But in this movie, the way this director handled her, like really awful. So for that, I think he will get -point from me. Especially like she comes in and she just take over her clothes. I was like, am I here to see that? No, nobody's here to see that, or her story, or her finding love. Nobody cares. We are here to see what is they're finding under the ground. Those are the interesting things, especially first act. Gets you invested in that story so much that you do want to know what is happening there. Unfortunately, this movie, last act, doesn't do good job. That's why overall this movie, although I really enjoyed it, cannot say I loved it. But it was really good to watch though. Still, I thought I had a good time watching it. I just did not like all this character they showed up in this movie. Ruined the watch for me, unfortunately. Still really liked this lead 2 character. They're acting, they are really good. For that, I cannot give this movie like bad grade. If I had to give a grade, I would give this movie like 2.5, because the last half is not that good. Because the plot really got convoluted. For that purpose, I cannot give this movie higher grade. Otherwise, if the movie went the way it started, it could have got 5 out of 5 star from me. Anyway, that was my thought on this movie. Thank you so much for checking this out. Let me know in the comment how was your watch. If you like this movie, I understand. If you didn't, I also understand. That was my thought. And if you enjoyed my review, don't forget to subscribe. Please take care.